I'm Vandana here from 8th Sem Computer Science. So here today I would be demonstrating the tool Ntopng. So what is Ntopng? Ntopng is a network analyzer tool which helps you monitor traffic across your network. So why is it used? It is used and it's generally preferred in all Linux gateways and Windows gateways to monitor the traffic and obtain its results in a very graphical and pictorial format. So next, I will be showing you its installation and its demo. Steps to install. First, add Ntopng to your repository list. So these are the two links. I've already pasted them here. Add these two lines. This will help us get the repository we require for Ntop. Next, you need to add the key and then run the update. So this can be used to add the key. The key has been added. Next, we will update our repository. The package lists are being read. Next, we'll install Ntop and its dependencies. The dependency required for Ntop is a Redis server. This is for the daemon process so that the traffic control can run in the background. The Redis server is already installed. Next, we'll install Ntop. So click continue. Next, to configure Ntop, we will make a configuration file. So sudo, instead of a nano text editor, I prefer a gedit text editor. etc/ntopng /ntopng.configure. So in this file, you can add these contents. So here E refers to the I refers to the interface, W refers to the port number, M refers to your local network's IP address. N is the number of interfaces. Here, since I'm using just one interface, I click on one. This is the destination path, and this is the process ID which we need to give. Next, we create the Ntop start file. So in this file, I've already defined that we need to give in our local network range here. Using ipconfig or ifconfig, you can find out your local network range, which is the IPv4 address, and given your interface to be 1. Now to see all available interfaces, type sudo ntopng -h. So these are the interfaces available. ETH0 is your LAN cable, nflog, nfq, NE, and LO. So more details about the interfaces can be obtained from here. Next, we need to start Ntopng and the Redis server. Sudo service Ntopng start. Ntopng has been started. So you can check this by typing localhost 3000 in your browser. The localhost, you type in localhost 3000, where 3000 is the port number which you defined earlier. Here the username is admin and the password by default is admin. So I click on login. You can change your preferences here by going to this and clicking on manage users. So in this you can click on manage and edit the name for a user and give a new password, new user password, as well as the user role. The main page of Ntop is called the dashboard. This gives an idea of what is happening in your network. The dashboard shows the top flow talkers. So a flow is a connection between two hosts over a port, TCP or UDP port, where these two hosts are communicating with some data. So the web page is dynamic. It is refreshed automatically every 5 seconds. The vertical bar here represents a host. This host is the one which is speaking to other hosts. Our current IP address here is 192.168.153.136, which is talking to two other hosts. Right now, since it's dynamically being updated, right now it's talking to 104. Okay, it's updated again. 192.168.153.2. So when the orange thing comes up, it means that this is the most used host, most connected host. This way, this diagram represents the relation between the two hosts. So you can start or stop the flow by clicking on this. In the bottom of the page, you see the graph. This graph on clicking gives a current overview of the network interface. Buttons active and pause. You can set up a custom name for the interface. You can read what family is the, you can read in what way you're reading the packets from the interface. This is represented by family. Ntopng uses several libraries for doing this. The most popular is actually pcap. On Linux, right now you can see that it is pfring, which allows you to capture the packets in a more efficient way. The counters here for the drop packets and the received traffic are here. These are dynamically updated when any flow is seen in the network. So it means that when a new packet is received, the counter is incremented automatically. So the maximum transmission unit here is fixed to be 1518 bytes. If you click on the packets menu, you will see the packet breakdown in terms of size distribution. In a network, it is important to understand the size of the packet to know the network to be in a good state or not. If you click on protocol, you can see the traffic breakdown interface in terms of applications. So here we have services provided on top of the protocols, which could be HTTP, others, SSLs, Ubuntu One. Here Google is a service which is on top of the other protocol. This gives the cumulative protocol stats as well as the live flow count rate. Scrolling down, you see the breakdown. So the application protocols listed here are YouTube, Wikipedia, Ubuntu One, Twitter, so on. So clicking onto one of them, you can see what is happening in terms of the protocol. So in this Since it's in the form of a time series or a time frame, you can view the last 10 minutes or even the last 12 hours or even the last 12 hours. Um, when you move this graph to a required time series, you can see the what do you call top talkers which are involved in this package flow. As soon as there's a new protocol, as soon as there's a one second, what was that protocols? So here, as soon as there's a new protocol, it will be updated into the graph would be updated over here. Like for example, let me open a video to, let's say, Wikipedia. So you come back here and you see that it has automatically been updated. Flows. Next we come to flows. The main concept in Ntopng is flow. Flow, as defined earlier, is a communication between two hosts over a certain period of time. So the client here is, you will have multiple flows, and these are divided into client and server communications, as you can see here. The client is the host that is sending the traffic, whereas server is the one which receives the traffic. Clicking on where's info? Clicking on info, you will see the breakdown of flow. You will so here you have the client. This is the client and this is the server. The protocol here is TCP, on top of which is the Google server. You can see when the server was first seen and last seen. There is a total traffic across the network. So network latency, application latency are all listed here. Next, going back to protocol, graph of this throughput can also be seen here, each of them. So all these columns can be sorted in the first client arrived, or in ascending descending order, in whatever way you want it, or even the total bytes taken up. So this is in ascending order, clicking on it again is in descending order. All elements here are dynamic, so every 5 seconds they are refreshed. You can enlarge the table and also add new elements by clicking on this. Next, because Ntopng is dynamic, whenever you refresh the web page or do some activity, like how I had logged into Wikipedia over here, Ntop reports this immediately. Usually, Google is the one which has the most traffic coming from the server, meaning that the service is prevalent on this network. We map the user server and the application and the server. They are linked to each other on a user level application. For hosts, we represent the traffic of the host divided per host. You can do this in two ways. You can click on the link of the host which is inside here, or you can select from here a particular host. From here you can click on a particular host. So we would be going into hosts in the host menu. You can see the list of all the hosts that are known. So basically Ntopng starts as an empty application, and by the time it learns new hosts, the traffic for those hosts arrive. Through decoding the HTTP headers, it is possible to learn the operating system of the server where Ntopng is reading the traffic from. So here, the first IP address, on clicking on it, you can see the overview of this host. So the first home gives the basic information, which is the MAC address, the IP address, name of the host, sent versus received packet breakdown. JSON, everything in Ntopng is in the form of a JSON. On clicking on download, you get a JSON object which can be exported. Other host. and check it out. Moving on to a local host. So in this local host, it gives me the MAC address, the IP address, name of the host. You can save a custom name for the host, the first and the last time this host was seen, the sent versus the received traffic breakdown, the amount of traffic sent and amount of traffic received as a client or as a server. So the IP address is the address from which the traffic is coming from. You can also use the DNS address or put a custom name. That's what I said earlier. Next, so traffic gives an overview of layer 4 protocols. It gives a percentage of what is the protocol being used. So here it's represented as 100% UDP protocol. The packet determines the packets in terms of packet size. You can see the packet breakdown for the host in terms of packet sent and packet received. Ports, you can see what ports are being used by these clients and servers. It's a dynamic graph, it's updated automatically. So here on seeing this, you can see a port number for the server is 53. Here the port number hasn't been displayed yet because it's not yet updated. Then clicking on peers, you can see the peers which are being used by these clients and servers. It's a dynamic graph, it updates over time. So here the top peer which is being used is the DNS. Clicking on this, okay, the pie chart shows the protocols being used. If I had probably another interface, let's say another website, I'm going to be playing this movie in the background. Okay, so the peers are still over DNS. The pie chart shows the protocols being used, so it's still DNS. If you want to view a specific host, you just have to click on it and you will see immediately what the protocol being exchanged is and the source and also the amount of traffic for this. For example, if I click on this, so it explains everything about the host, the IP address, the OS being used, the name of the host. You can save a custom name, first and last seen, the sent and the received breakdown, traffic sent and received, the active flow, the packet sent analysis, the active map, same as the JSON, which is, so basically this represents the peers for the, so this represents the peers for a specific host. So it can restrict you to the flows activity, host and protocol specific. If you click again on the same host, you will enable the graph for all the hosts. So on clicking on the pie chart, if you want to see what host is doing a particular protocol, you can see that host. Clicking on the host to have an overview of the host itself. Since here there's only one host at the moment, it's not, the overview is not seen. Clicking on protocols, protocol represents application protocol for the specific host that we are currently analyzing. So this gives a protocol overview of YouTube being 10%, DNS being 40.4% and 48.48% being Google. So these are the application protocols for this particular host. DNS. Ntopng allows you to see the breakdown of the DNS. So the number of queries sent, received, the reply breakdown, the query distribution in the form of a pie chart. Next, I click on Talkers. Talkers shows me the same graph which we had seen earlier on the dashboard. This gives the current contacts. This is actually the um, geo map. It shows the map on the traffic. It gives a map on the traffic activities, and the map is centered on your current location. On a local IP address, you will not see a graph, but on a remote host, you have public IP address, you will be able to see it on a map. Under hosts, if I move on to top hosts, in Ntopng there is a difference between the remote and the local hosts. Remote hosts do not belong to the network that are being reported. Local hosts are those that are present in the local traffic. You can see bars appearing over here. This represents the traffic. As the traffic on a certain link increases, the bar becomes greener. So since YouTube is being played here, the bar for YouTube bar here has become greener. This thing, time ticking control bar, can you give you the interface preferences. So here it's set to be 1000 megabit. You save the same, come back. So this would increase with increase in traffic. You can see the change in the, you can see the change because of the increase in traffic from this one web page. So this shows how the traffic affects the server depending on the traffic itself. Okay. Next, coming on to GeoMap. It asks to share your location. This is putting your traffic activities on the world map. Coming to tree map. Tree map represents the traffic overall from this one IP address. Clicking on that takes us back to the details of the IP address. Local flow matrix. It's a table that contains every single host traffic. Local host matrix represents local host matrix is a table that represents every single host traffic. They are blue and orange in color, representing the server and the client, sent and received by a host. Under interfaces, you can switch between interfaces. Ntopng allows you to understand what is happening on your entire network or PC.